Now we'll ask our panelists to tell us about themselves, their organization, and what our campaign means to the leaders and their organization. First, we have Michelle Parker, PhD, who teaches public health and biology at Santa Clara University. She holds a BS in biochemistry and a PhD in cancer biology. Her research focuses on frugal innovation in global health, and she is honored to be part of the Rose Academy team and presenting today at CSW 67. All right, Michelle.
All right, just getting my slides up, which I think is going to work like instantaneously as opposed to before. We have great hopes. I'm going to be talking about some of the health education apps. University, my academic team. We design with frugal innovation in mind. So we are building a high quality product that is sustainable and yet also low cost for our users. Obviously, that's key in this demographic. We utilize the design thinking process, which is depicted here from the Stanford D School, which basically means that we begin with a needs assessment from our Uganda team. As they are on the ground, they are the experts in the health outcomes in these villages, and they fully understand where we can intervene. So we start the process by having them teach us. We then go and do a literature search. That would be my public health and biology students to find out what's going on in other regions of the world. And while we're building the educational content of the app, our engineering colleagues are building the technical know-how on the tablet. And then together we ideate and prototype and test and then do it all again. It's a very iterative process. So it's very dark. You may be wondering why we are teaching using technology in such a low resource setting where there's no electricity, no running water. Well, if you can see these smiles, if the image was a little clearer, you would see that these children are smiling. That's one reason. But the main reason that we teach with technology is because we know that the introduction to technology is important for the economic development of these regions. We start young. Their brains are, there's so much plasticity. They like to experiment. This is fun. There's no reason that they cannot be learning technology as well. And so we bring it to them. We also recognize that this is a challenge in a low resource setting. So we use the most basic of tablets. The Rose interns charge in Kampala before they go out to the rural villages. And we have two ways of teaching. We can teach under a tree with paper with no technology at all, which is what we had to resort to during the COVID lockdown in 2020. Or we can expand it and make it more interactive for tech-savvy youth. We donate all of our code directly to Rose Academy so they can adapt it to fit their needs. So our apps use minimal text, and we do that for two reasons. One, we know we're working with a low literacy population. And number two, all of the Rose Academy's interns have to translate into a variety of different dialects for the users. So we simplify that process for them. We also use artwork that our characters can identify with, and I'll be showing you a lot of our art today. We want the girls and boys to identify with the characters in the app. We want the users to feel part of things. We want appropriate clothing, appropriate village art. So in each of our 5 apps, we have a couple of themes that run throughout, including the importance of community, finding one's voice as a means towards empowerment. So I'm hoping this video plays. My goal was to bring our colleague Claire from Uganda to the UN with us and have her presenting with short snippets of videos throughout our presentation. This is the first one. Pardon the glitchy internet because this is just life in Uganda. This is Claire describing some of the many reasons that girls drop out of school when they begin their periods. And this was the impetus for our very first app. Okay, hopefully this will work. Oops, I hear it, but it's not hooked up to the speaker. Can I hook it up to the speaker?
Yeah,
Mic? What do you think? Want to do it for me? That would be easy. Give me 1 second, because I really would like you to hear from our colleagues on that. She's our 5th panelist. Yeah, she's our 5th panelist today. She's with us on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, it might not.
No. I have no idea what
We can play it through the mic.
The green cord right there?
Oh, no.
Should we play it through the mic?
We try to put it mic. Yeah,
I know it.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Due to poverty at home, and then there's the stigma that comes along with it, because probably a girl goes into her menstruation without knowing what to do, and then maybe they get some blood stain on the uniform, and the students laugh at her.
And so these are some of the problems that these girls run into that cause them to drop out of school. So we created Heady Help. It was our very first app for Rose Academies. This is our menstruation education app. And to help combat this stigma that Claire talked about, and to help girls fully understand their body, we discuss in this app the changes that a girl goes through during puberty. We try to debunk myths, and we focus on encouraging them to stay in school when they start their periods. So this is some of the art that unfortunately is very dark. Well, you can see in the first panel, we show the girls growing taller each year. We talk about them getting breasts that one may be larger than the other, and this is normal. We talk about them getting hips, and we show these girls confidently going to school. Can we see the pictures okay?
Yeah.
Now they're just a little bit dark.
Their faces are more.
Yeah, the art is better on my computer than you're seeing here. But we say that changing is beautiful, that she is empowered by the changes in her body. We show that people are growing differently, and that is normal. And we're also careful to show the biology. We take them through the fertilization process so they understand when the egg doesn't get fertilized, why they're bleeding. We want to make sure that they have accurate medical terminology. And these are some pictures from the field, showing Rose Academy's interns teaching Heady Help in schools and communities. And we actually heard from some of the teachers of these classrooms that they were learning this information for the first time as well, which was very interesting. So we know that this lack of health knowledge is affecting more than just the young generations. So the more that we study the social and structural determinants of health impacting rural Uganda girls, the more we wanted to help. And our next project revolved around improving childhood nutrition. So this is a video from Haidari Lububi, who is our nutrition expert in Uganda, excuse me.
One of their leading challenges, and malnutrition exists in they majorly have undernutrition, which manifests them in form of nutrient deficiencies as well as body weight, which of course in the long run will later manifest out in those countries. They are already affected by poverty. Now, what happens at the stage of supplementary feeding, they are unable to give the right food the child needs or even to meet the number of times. Most mothers will find that number of times they give the food, they'll tell you, I give around 2 times. Because when you look at the home, they'll be able to have lunch and dinner. Even that food, they cannot be able to choose food from 3 food groups. At least to have a vegetable there, at least to have a carbohydrates there, and also to put some protein. Not because they don't have the food, but they are lacking the knowledge.
They are lacking the knowledge. So we created Obulamu Eats, which means healthy eats. Our nutrition education app provides healthy tips for all stages of life. We begin in pregnancy with a pregnant mom. We continue through childhood and even touch upon unhealthy adult habits like excess alcohol consumption. These are some images from Obulamu Eats. We begin with important reminders on hygiene, washing hands before cooking and eating. For women cooking with an open fire inside, we remind them to let the smoke out of windows and doors to provide cleaner air for themselves and their families. And we teach pregnant women to eat 3 meals a day. We know that, and to take prenatal vitamins, because we know that a healthy mom leads to a healthy baby, and healthy families lead to healthier villages. We also give parents warning signs of malnutrition in their children so they know when to seek help. We teach about stunting, wasting, and kwashiorkor. And these are all just samples from the apps. There's a lot more modules than this. And then also in this app, we teach about the mind-body connection. That good health isn't only reliant on good food, but also on rejuvenating sleep and nurturing social connections. And yet, we can't undertake health education for women without addressing the #1 cancer killer of women in Africa, which is cervical cancer. And this is a video of Claire describing this issue.
Most of the women do not even know that they should go for cervical cancer screening. So when we talk to them and tell them that the cervical cancer actually does exist and you should get to know how you stand, your status, by going for screening, that's when they get to know that, oh, it is bad, it is actually bad.
And so began our cervical cancer education app, Senga Safe. In this app, we reinforce ideas about safe sex, birth control, and healthy relationships. We also promote delaying pregnancy and having child spacing. And of course, we teach about prevention, screening, and treatment of cervical cancer. Our story in Senga Safe stars Senga, our trusted auntie, telling a young girl her life story. Here we show her falling in love with a kind man. We tell her she's worthy and she shouldn't settle in an abusive relationship. Senga talks about how they practiced safe sex and waited to get pregnant. You can see we try our best to be culturally respectful, with our images around sex, and trying to be very conscious of various religious beliefs. We know if anything is deemed offensive to our users, that impedes their learning, and obviously we don't want that. So we continually assess our cultural humility and take a very long, careful look at exactly how we're depicting sex. So you'll see here on the left panel, we show 2 naked people. They are of equal height on purpose, showing some equality in the relationship. And you will notice that the woman is very purposefully holding the condom. On the right, in the image here, we show Senga at a health center with a nurse getting cyanopress, which is a contraceptive implant, which is available in Uganda. And then as Senga teaches her niece how to prevent cervical cancer, of course, she takes her niece to the clinic to get 2 shots of the human papillomavirus vaccine, because that is the key for young girls to prevent cervical cancer. Also at the clinic, we have Senga and her niece together, advocating for each other. In this image, Senga is getting visual inspection with acetic acid, VIA, which is a common cervical cancer screening method. We also make sure to give women warning signs of symptoms that should take them to the clinic for screening, things like pelvic pain, pain after intercourse, and abnormal bleeding. And at the end of the app, we promote trust in healthcare providers, communication within families, and teamwork to creating a healthier woman in the village. Here we have Sangha saying, as a team, we can stay healthy, safe, and strong. And yet at each stage of our research and app development, we encountered the very startling fact that many teen girls drop out of school. Not completing secondary school creates a roadblock to their prosperity. It puts them at risk for early marriage, pregnancy, as well as STIs, HIV, and cancer. For years, we wanted to find a way to motivate girls to stay in school. Here's Claire, again, telling us about the problem.
Now start getting breasts and the parents look at them like, now this one is older. Now she's old enough. They start looking for husbands for them. So they feel like, okay, now she's no longer my responsibility. I would rather get her married off. Then some girls get pregnant while still at home.
And so our current app, which is under development, is called Omuala Power, or Girl Power. We have 3 main learning objectives with this new app. We teach that education is the key to prosperity. We teach that staying in school provides a better life for her and her family, that stable income provides nutritious food and healthcare. And we encourage the girls that we work with to have challenging conversations with their family to advocate for their own education. Omuala Power is the story of 2 girls learning the benefits of school. We challenge the status quo that the sole role of girls is to get married and have children. We want to show them that they can provide for their family as well. Here we show one of our main characters in red collecting water in her jerry can, imagining the possible careers ahead of her after she finishes school. These are attainable careers for our users: a nurse, a teacher, and a tailor. And we also try to impress upon our users that everyone is welcome, encouraged, and capable of staying in school. So you'll see in this image, we have our 2 main characters in the red and the blue dresses. We also, on the left, have an HIV positive student still in school. The girl in purple, who has a period stain, a blood stain on her dress, she's still in school. In orange, we have a girl in a wheelchair, still in school. And even more importantly, I think, the girl in yellow closest to me is pregnant and she is still in school. So, in summary of all of these apps, it's not just our users who are gaining an education in this journey to empowerment that I share with Rose Academies. We create and donate our modules directly to Rose. My students are learning in public health and biology, and they're working with their peers in engineering and arts to create some of the images you saw today. We collaborate across universities, CBOs, and international borders. Rose Academies is also teaching because they use the community leaders model to actually teach. So they're teaching within the villages and they're teaching leaders within the villages to deliver this healthcare education. And we do it this way because we know that empowerment comes from giving voice to the inequities, gaining knowledge, and community strengthening. So our next steps involve documenting outcomes through survey analysis and qualitative methods. We are always looking for new rounds of funding, and we have great hopes that we'll soon be able to expand to new international partners so that more girls can learn and reach their full potential. Because it takes a village to teach a village. So just a few thank yous to my village, definitely my collaborators at Rose, Susan, Claire, and Heidery, my collaborators at Santa Clara University, Professors Figuera and Lee, and most importantly, this long list of students who have poured their heart and soul into these projects and have been such a crucial and beloved part of our village.
Thank you, Michelle. That was
Yeah.
very inspirational. Very nice. Our next speaker is Tatiana Valentin, a graduate of Santa Clara University who went on to complete her master's in global health policy and governance at Georgetown University during the pandemic, no less. Her interest in women's health has continued as she interned at Organon, a leading women's health pharmaceutical company developed at Merck Pharmaceuticals. There, she engaged international stakeholders in meaningful conversations about investing in family planning. Currently, she works at Acumen LLC as a data and policy analyst, working on projects to promote health equity and diagnostic breast cancer screening improvements. She will be applying to medical school in the future to continue her dream to improve patient experience and access to women's sexual and reproductive health care. All right, let's hear from you. Thank you.
I guess that's me. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tatiana.
Tatiana.
Thank you for the call out. So we're back here in person, which I'm very happy about because as a student, it was really depressing when COVID started. So thank you for being here and as well online. I was one of the public health students that was on Dr. Parker's list as of, I guess, 3 years around today. Our app has now been used by Rose Academies for about 3 years, and it sounds like we've been affecting change across over 100 villages, and we've been educating thousands of women. And so my app, which I was a part of this team here, was to work for neonatal survival education. So that would be in the first month of life, how a mother can help to maintain that child's health. And so today I'm, similar to Dr. Parker, going to show you some of the slides that have made the app so successful. But before I do that, we're going to have another cameo from Claire, and hopefully this will work, otherwise we have video as well. Okay, I might want to go into the, where's the, this. And Claire's going to kind of explain kind of why this is so helpful.
For instance, when we are looking at a young mother that has just given birth, she doesn't know how to take good care of herself. The Humana Thrive app easily explains how what she's feeling from the first time she has given birth up to when she's feeding the baby. The pictures explain step by step, and it is so easy for this mother to understand.
So as Claire was explaining, we have these different modules of education which focus actually on 4 core elements of neonatal health, which are represented right here. So we focus on lactation and nutrition for feeding, illnesses that are common that a mother may look out for, hygiene of not only the baby and the mother, but of the entire community, and self-care, because without healthy moms, it's quite difficult to have healthy babies. So this is our very cute first module, which was the beginning of our app development. And we are focusing on expressive and culturally relevant characters with which our young mothers can relate to the story that we're coming across with. And so this first module, we are focusing on key elements of ensuring that the nutritional needs are met through breastfeeding specifically, as you can see in this second imagery. And so we are encouraging breastfeeding for a multitude of reasons, and some of which include that it's free and available, and the next of which is that not only is it providing nutrition, but it's providing the immune development support that this child needs when they cannot have an immune system for themselves. And so we are encouraging the breastfeeding as opposed to using solid foods milk from other animals that are local, or even water from the local sources. And so in this first slide, this really depicts a picture is worth 1,000 words to me, because as I was saying, the milk supply is important, but when it is first happening, it can be very, it seems like it's slow, because the colostrum that is being produced at the beginning, though highly nutritious, does not seem like enough to sustain the growth of the child. And as this baby grows and develops hair and opens its eyes, we are showing to mothers that your milk will increase in due time. And as she maintains and continues breastfeeding, it will continue to grow with the child, which is, it really leaves some fears at the beginning. And then this next slide was actually developed at the end of our entire development, because we were alerted in 2020 of this interesting phenomenon of some Ugandan men requesting the breast milk from mothers. And we wanted to be able to address this issue, because this, of course, can impact the nutrition of the growing babies. And we wanted to do this in a clear and kind way that was not alienating to anyone, while also still addressing the issue. And so this was the final slide for this module. And then another module that we did, as I said, was when babies get sick. And we were really focusing on different elements of preventative, diagnostic, and treatment-related issues. And I'm not going to bore you with every single slide, I promise. So here, I just wanted to focus on the fact that for the preventative, we were looking at the kangaroo care here, which improves infant temperature regulation, as well as, of course, bonding with the mother or anyone else in the family who is interested in doing that. And then we're looking at diagnosis, so how a mother can know the child is sick, whether that's through fever or breathing issues. We are showing them digestive signs that they can look out for. And then we're moving into some of the treatment-related issues, and that's focusing on we focused on HIV testing and treatment, and then as well as malaria, because those are two very prominent diseases in our population. And so this final slide for this module that we thought was especially important to show is our childhood vaccination slide. And we took our app out in 2020, which, as we know, was a pretty big year for disease. And so this slide is actually doing double and triple duty as we come through some of those pandemics, and global vaccine hesitancy has become a huge issue. And I myself did my master's research in Ghana at the Kintampo Health Center, and it was in adverse events reporting in vaccine clinical trials. And when I was speaking to a lot of the doctors and other clinicians there, they spoke even across the continent that there were some issues with people having hesitancy with COVID and also malaria vaccinations and fears surrounding vaccines due to adverse events. And so we know that this is a problem everywhere, and so this hopefully is helping to encourage people to see past those fears. So once we get to our baby hygiene module, we really start to include more of the community-oriented communication language, because it is not just the mother and baby in this silo, it is everyone in the family and in the communities that we want to engage. And so here we're showing how there are three main components with the baby's hygiene, the mothers, and the other families, and then the general community who can help to maintain the health of this child as they are still developing their immune system. And in this section, we also focused a little bit on some cultural norms which could possibly impede the health of the child, such as rituals for the umbilical cord. And so those are some different things we did within this. This is my favorite module, but I'm very pro mama. But here we focus on 5 relationships that may shift and change when a mother has her child, ranging from, you know, the relationship she has with her own body or the relationship she has with the community. And so I really wanted to show you some of these slides because we want women to know that these changes are very normal. Some of them are permanent, some of them are temporary, and all of them in between are very okay. And so this shows the relationship of the body and how that may shift, as well as dealing with shifts in the relationship with their partners, and then the relationship with themselves and even their child. And so postpartum depression was something we wanted to focus on, since this is not a topic that's widely discussed anywhere around the world, but it really needs to be. And in this progression between the first and the second slide, we're starting to push out this message of open communication within your communities. And as you've learned here today, we do a lot of our education within community, and no one's just sitting there alone. They're there with other new moms. And so this is showing that when a person is having these issues, that they reach out to the other moms in their community, other health workers, other parents and family members, to be able to take a step back and be the best parent that they can be. And so that here is where we're showing our mother here is not with her baby, but she's still a great mother. And so finally, just to wrap this up and let you know what our final themes are, is that we are continuing this theme of open communication and support within the communities, because thousands of women have had children successfully. And I think that, you know, when you are looking to have your own children, having the support within the community of other women who've either gone through this or who are currently going through, and being able to have information sharing that is accurate, is very critical. So thank you very much. These are some of our other partners, and I look forward to our Q&A.
Thank you, Tatiana. Next, we have Theodora Klausner, currently a senior graduating with a degree in computer science engineering from Cornell University. He is from Los Angeles, but spent 2 years in South Africa. While at Cornell, he has been a leader within Engineering World Health, an on-campus organization whose mission is to create meaningful impact through innovative technology solutions that target the world's most pressing health issues. Theodore, with the help of his team, has been collaborating with Rose Academies to address health programs in Uganda through educational technology. All right, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for the introduction.
Welcome.
So I will be discussing our partnership with Rose Academies and the development of our education lab, Akafuba, to address the issues of tuberculosis in Uganda. So before getting into the details of the application, I'd like to discuss the general problem of tuberculosis. In 2021, 10.6 million people fell ill with tuberculosis. 64% of those people had access to TB care, while a staggering 42% were undiagnosed or untreated. TB is a preventable and treatable disease, but it continues to disproportionately affect marginalized communities. According to the WHO, Uganda is among the 30 highest TB burden countries in the world. And these graphs are specifically showcasing Uganda, by the way. As you can see here, there is an increasing trend of TB cases, with more than 80,000 cases in 2020 alone. The high prevalence of TB in Uganda is compounded by a lack of education and resources in many rural villages. This is why our partnership with Rose Academies is so important in addressing this issue. And as you see on the graph on the right, despite the increasing trend of people developing TB, the number of people on treatment has been increasing, and the number of people successfully treated is quite correlated to those that get on treatment. And there is a tiny blip due to COVID-19, but we hope to see this trend of people getting on treatment increasing. So this problem of tuberculosis kind of spurred this collaboration with Rose Academies to develop Akafuba, an educational app designed to address the issue of TB, specifically in rural villages in Uganda. The app is split up into modules to provide information on the cases of symptoms, treatment, and causes of TB in a way that is easy to understand and accessible for people who have limited literacy skills. The app uses a gamification approach to make learning even more engaging. The app will be downloaded onto these Android tablets, the same tablets that Dr. Parker was mentioning before, as long as the other apps that Rose Academies has developed. And this app will be used in focus groups, in small groups, so that they can really get close and engage in the content. So one of the key questions we kept asking ourselves is, how do we make this app approachable to a young and illiterate population? We looked at various online existing tools and found that many of them shared quiz-like features, such as multiple choice, true, false, even drag and drop type questions. These questions are designed to reinforce the information presented in the app and help them remember what they may have learned. By making the learning process more interactive, we hope to increase engagement and knowledge retention among the villagers. And we also wanted to use high quality images. Despite that there's not many images here, we are working with one of Rose Academy's fellows to increase the imagery in this application to make it even more engaging to the illiterate population. To further reinforce this information presented in the app, we use color cues and symbols to indicate whether the villagers got a question right or wrong. So the healthcare worker will ask the focus group a question, and they will actually, going back to this, they will actually click one of these buttons in the application, to which they'll get some visual feedback. The healthcare worker then can hold up to the tablet and showcase the large green check mark indicating that they got it correct. Likewise, if they get it incorrect, if they get the question wrong, they'll showcase a big red X. And this is something that we kept going back and forth with Rose Academies, as well as the individuals specifically in Uganda, to see, are these color cues correct? Are these symbols correct? And we see that this is going to be an ongoing process. So once we actually deploy the application, we'd like to see the actual response from the villagers. In engineering, there's like the mantra of iteration, iteration, iteration. You're not going to get it right the first time. So we want to actually see what happens when we deploy this, see if this makes sense to them, and if not, we can always change it. So the main question, so this specific application was made in collaboration with Texas A&M, where they actually developed the curriculum for our app. We took their curriculum and then integrated it into a gamified experience. So Akafubo is specifically designed with TB in mind, but we believe this gamification approach can be applied to a wide breadth of health issues. We see Akafuba as a framework for this gamified education experience that can be customized for different health issues. By developing a framework, we can easily adapt this content or this the app to different health issues to make health education more accessible and engaging for people in underserved communities. This brings us to the next stage of our project, which is building this general purpose application, which will require an on-demand curriculum creator. To enable this customization, Rose Academies can use this tool to develop the curriculum live, and then eventually download this to an app to work for any health problem. The curriculum creator tool will allow them to design, edit, and update curriculums for different health issues. So if we see something is getting miscommunicated or misunderstood, we can then change it on our end without building an entirely new app. And so these Rose Academies and other organizations directly use this app to make other health education programs specific to the needs of various communities. So this is a wireframe, so a mock-up of what the eventual multi-purpose app would look like. And our idea is to integrate the curriculum creator tool mentioned earlier to make a wide breadth of education curriculums available. This will allow villages to access a wide range of health education tools that are tailored to their specific needs. And so this is my team. I kind of led this team, but this would not have happened without the work of all these smiling people. The TV education app and the ongoing collaboration with Rose Academies is really a testament to the power of collaboration and innovation in healthcare education. I'd like to thank my team at Cornell Engineering World Health for their hard work on the October app, as well as the ongoing curriculum creator tool. Without their dedication and expertise, this project would not have been possible. I'd also like to thank our partners at Rose Academies, as well as Texas A&M for their collaboration and support. By working together, we can make healthcare education more accessible and effective for everyone.
Our final speaker, Anika Estrada, is a sophomore at Princeton University studying public and international affairs and gender and sexuality studies. She has worked at Rose Academy since 2017 and was the 2019 Youth Ambassador for Global Affairs. This summer, she will be conducting a holistic review of the efficacy of Rose's programs and creating recommendations for improvement. Her overall passion in life is the global advancement of women's rights, and she hopes to pursue that in a myriad of ways moving forward.
Hi, guys.
I
Hi.
am.
Thank you. Wait, oh my gosh. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout all of the technical difficulties that we've experienced in this panel. I can actually get the energy. We've been sitting in this dark room for a little bit, but okay. I actually don't know if this is gonna work. Sure. Of course. Okay.
See?
Wait.
There, it's coming.
It's coming. We don't know. There we go. All right.
See?
Hi. So
Power. Good.
basically, to round out this panel, I'm going to be talking about the power of faith, which is, as you might have believed, pretty central to Rose Academy's mission, and they embrace it in a myriad of ways that I think really contribute to the efficacy and sustainability of Rose generally. So, first of all, what's so special about youth activism or I think there are a lot of barriers really to engaging within the social justice space or within any sort of social movement, mostly because there's lack of economic capital. Traditionally, a lot of young people don't really have a lot of money, which means you can't really donate or make philanthropic contributions. There's also lack of social capital. We can't really vote. There are difficult ways for people to engage. As you can see, Rose works extensively with college students who are really at the beginning of their lives and students from and people from a wide range of ages within Uganda, which basically means that Rose is holistically engaging people without much economic and social capital. So what do they have? What makes this so special? I think really what it is new ideas, fresh perspectives, a lot of energy and momentum in it. We've seen how amazing the developments that my fellow panelists have made. People who are just starting out in their lives have made incredible contributions to global health issues, which is one of the reasons why I think they're so special. In my experience, growing up was really disillusioned by just how terrible the world can be for women globally, and I really wanted to get involved. And I started looking around for opportunities to get involved as a freshman in high school. And Rose Academies is one of the first places that really said, yeah, you have energy and passion, we're going to let you work for us. And kind of stuck me ever since. Anyways, so Rose often says that the secret is their students. Our secret is our students. And there are a lot of robust pathways for youth engagement within the United States, such as the position of the youth ambassador for global affairs, as well as student-driven programmatic initiatives, using some of the apps that my fellow panelists have developed. And these all are part of one of Rose's programs, UWIC, which basically is educational materials that are developed by the United States and then taught by those and finally, I think Rose holds a lot of advocacy events that are open to the public and have high levels of engagement with the youth. So that means that students who are in middle school and high school who are attending some of our events here in the United States get to open up their eyes and learn about some of the issues that are happening across the world that still somehow also affect them. All right, so yeah.
My voice is low. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you know what? This is okay. I'm just going to keep talking. So, basically, some of the programs that are developed here within the United States are then sent out via like Rose Academies as pathways to Uganda, and they're carried out through the fellowship program that Ms. Dawson mentioned. I think this is an incredibly important aspect of Rose Academies' method of engaging youth, mostly because it works with young adults in Uganda in order to make sure that we really adopt the train the trainers module. I'm just going to turn this off and talk to y'all, if that's okay. Yeah, okay. So this train the trainers model is particularly important because it's sustainable in a couple of ways. Not only is it creating job opportunities and creating pathways for engagement for young people within Uganda, but it's also spreading the knowledge. It's making sure that we really circumvent one of the biggest problems that comes with like Western aid in terms of global nonprofits. Typically, the issue is that people with higher access to education and economic and social capital have amazing ideas that they want to implement to improve the quality of life of people in other areas, but to sort of go to those other areas, it means that that education is really passed forward. What Rose is doing that's particularly different and notable is that it's training young people who then can go out and carry this knowledge not only to their families and their communities, but to the communities that they're working with. This, I think, you sort of leaned over when you were talking, I really wanted to highlight because it's something incredibly special and one of the reasons why Rose is so effective as an organization. I think the last thing that I really wanted to talk about, I'm keeping it short because I want to leave some time for questions and answers, was really just about why this method of youth engagement is particularly important. Not only is it increasing the vitality of Rose Academy and working with people of like all age ranges throughout Uganda, but it's also making sure that we really create these systems of accountability for people who are students within the United States who then get to make sure that we are also participating in global issues and global affairs, becoming knowledgeable about them from an early age, and creating change in our own ways. So what's really happening is you're creating, I think, new methods of youth engagement and advocacy on all levels, they're all age ranges within both the United States and countries that are all the way across the world. I really wanted to end my little presentation on just some thoughts that I had on youth activism, what it means to be a youth who's involved in global issues and how to keep going. But I genuinely feel that the work that you've seen that my fellow panelists have created and the impact that you've seen has happened because of that really is a testament to the fact that basically youth engagement is great. It's hard to get access to, but when you do it, it can have immense consequences and immense amounts of pro-social impact that far exceed the amount of like regular nonprofit operations, in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons why Rose is so incredible as a nonprofit and one that you all should engage with further after this panel. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our